Why did we go for marriage material?
I think it's got a nice ring to it. Marriage material, that's what we clearly both think we are.
After 16 years?
After 16 years, we have now reached the threshold of being marriage material, I would say.
So thank you very much for being here, listening to us and watching us. We are going to be talking this first episode. We're going to be talking about the proposal.
Yes.
And I'm super excited to hear your perspective of it, because I know what my perspective was.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying at times. But there was a lot of close calls. There was a lot of things that could have gone bad and you could have found out, but you didn't. And it worked out brilliantly in the end.
Total surprise. It really was. And yeah, let's dive into it.
Yeah, so we'll start right at the beginning then. We were coming up towards our summer holiday with the family. We're going to Turkey. And I remember speaking to Gareth and Nikki, and I said, I'm going to propose to Kylie again. Because this time we are going to get married, and we don't want to be engaged for another 8 years.
Yeah.
But I feel like we were different people. We are different people to 2014. So I wanted to propose to you once more. So I always knew that I was going to propose in Turkey. And I remember going to Turkey. Just going to Turkey, did you have any idea? Did you think that this was ever going to happen whatsoever?
Not an absolute. No, that's how shocked I was. No, I had no clue. It wasn't even a thought process. I know, obviously, leading up in the last few months or so, we have been talking more about getting married and having that moment for us. And I think we've even joked saying, "Oh, you need to propose to me again." But it was never a thing where I actually thought, "Oh wow, you're actually going to do it." So no, absolutely blindsided by it. I was. It was the best surprise, and also I think it was so good, and it's what we needed as well, just to get us all excited again. Like you say, it was 2014 the last when we engagement won, but I think we both needed that. Like you just said, we're different people, and not only that, I think it's just that excitement again, isn't it? We never had an engagement party last time and things like that, so I think it's all come at the right time, and I think we're actually ready as well. I think we've been quite scared of it.
I think it's overwhelming, and that's why we wanted to record the podcast and invite you guys to join us on the journey towards the big day, because organising the wedding, when we got engaged the first time, it was overwhelming with so many things that you have to think about. The venue, you have to think about invitations, you have to think about bridesmaids and dresses and best men, and you have to think about so many things, and I think we was quite overwhelmed by everything. Yeah. So, but this time, super excited because I don't feel overwhelmed anymore.
No, I actually don't at this moment in time. I don't at all. I just feel excited. I actually feel ready. Like the whole family's so excited. Like friends are obviously as well. So now I think, like we've just said, we're just ready now, and this is the exciting part of. It's just the countdown to one of the greatest days it's going to be, I think.
Yeah. So I knew I was going to propose to you in Turkey.
Yeah. And
going to Turkey, it was an incredible holiday. We'd been there a year prior, and I love our family holidays. It's amazing, real magic moments. And the difficulty that I had was there was no real preparation, in a sense of I didn't know at what point in the holiday, I didn't know where I was going to do it. So there was a lot of on the plane, and the first couple of days I was like, would it be in the restaurant? Would it be by the pool? Would it be on the beach? Would it be on the pier? Would it be on all these things, trying to figure this out? And I remember I think it was like day 4. I remember speaking to Nikki and Gareth and saying, we need to speak to the hotel and see whether they can do anything for us at the pier, because I decided it was going to be at the pier. We loved the pier. We'd always walk down there.
Yeah.
Amazing view of the Mediterranean, incredible weather, etc. And I remember Nikki and Gareth saying, do you want us to take care of that and see what the hotel can do? Because I was always with you, and if I sneaked away,
I'm like, where are you going?
you'd be like, where's Kev? And
it's not a natural thing. You're on holiday. One of you goes away. You're going to be wondering where's the other person gone.
Of course.
Which I did.
Yeah, and so I asked them to. They was like, I'll speak to the hotel just to see what they could potentially do, and I was like, amazing, thank you so much. It allowed me then just to focus on, okay, I need to go out and find the ring. Because...
That's crazy that you didn't even have a ring.
Well...
What would have happened if you didn't find one?
Well, funny enough, I've got a recording, and I was thinking to myself, I was walking out the hotel, I was thinking to myself, have people proposed with no rings? But then I was thinking, what can I propose with? Can I propose with a new bag for you, or a nice pair of shoes?
No.
Or I was thinking to myself, walking past all these shops, I was like, what if I don't find a ring? But fortunately, I walked into one of the shops, because the first night we were there, I was trying, in the back of my mind, get a mental memory image of like trying to remember where all these jewelry shops are. And I remember walking in, and number one, I wasn't sure exactly what ring size you was.
Yeah, neither am I.
Yeah, wasn't 100% sure. Secondly, I was looking for a ring that isn't just because your first ring, I absolutely love your first ring. I really do. It's a lovely ring. Still is a lovely ring. But I wanted something that was quite unique.
Yeah.
So I was looking across this jewelry shop. I was just like glancing over all the rings, just trying to pick out something that looks unusual. And fortunately, I found the one that's on your finger right now.
No, it's perfect as well. I like the fact that it's, like you just mentioned about the first engagement ring. They can be a lot of them are generic, aren't they? Like you're saying, they're lovely. But what I love with this is like, one, I've never really seen one like this before. And I just like the fact that it's a new ring as well. What girl doesn't want a new ring?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I do like the fact that it's different and gold. I am definitely a gold wearing girl. Like I don't ever wear silver. So I love that as well, that you can actually see a lot more of the gold as well in this ring. So
yeah, and what drew my attention to it was the fact that it's got like a bit of a it's got the actual diamond itself, and then it's like a rope that goes around it.
Yeah.
It's like a knot, because we're tying the knot as well, which is amazing. So I found the ring, got the ring. What I loved, the case of the ring, straight away I was like, this is an amazing case, because it was unusual because it's got a light in it.
Yeah.
And then I brought it back to the hotel. I remember obviously sneaking out, and you guys were down at the kids club, and I was like, again, if I said that I'm going out to shops, you'd be like, I'm just going to come with you, because we do things together. We're best friends as well. So, but then it was a case of hiding the ring in the room so you couldn't find it. So I was trying to think of everywhere that I could possibly think of where the ring wouldn't be found, because we're in this room, me, you, Theo, Harper. So I couldn't just put it in the cupboard. I couldn't just put it in the drawer at the side of the table. I couldn't just put it out in the open. So in the end, I actually hid it underneath the mattress where I was sleeping. And then if you remember, I think it must have been that night, you were finding it quite uncomfortable on your side of the bed. So you was like, can I switch to your side of the bed? So I was like, yeah, but I knew you would probably feel it then underneath the mattress. Yeah. So anyway, I ended up getting it out and sneaking it past you again. But then it come to the actual evening itself, and it all everything just... There was a lot of close calls.
Yeah.
There was a lot of close calls for the actual proposal.
Which I was still oblivious to. now knowing them all, it is funny.
The first one was to do with the iron. Because the iron, at the hotel, you had to go down to reception to get the iron. And this particular day, I kept on saying, well, how about we get ready a little bit earlier? We go out a little bit earlier and we're ready and we can walk out to the pier and we'll take some family photos. This was day 5, 6 of the holiday. So everyone's got the nice tan and we can get some nice family photos. So I hid that away from you quite well.
Yeah, you did.
I think that was a good curveball.
I mean, because it'd been not late in the evening, but you'd be leaving the pool and everything, going up, getting ready, and then we were both saying it'd be nice to go for a drink, and then you tied it in very nice, being like, oh, let's go get some pictures. So I was like, okay. So then that tied into put a nice outfit on type of thing, like wear something nice and such. So yeah, you did very well actually.
But as we was going back up to the room, at the same time, Nikki and Gareth and your mum Susan were going to go out shopping earlier. They were at the reception, and you wanted an iron.
Yeah.
So just in this particular moment, we were going up, thinking I was going up to the room, and you was like, oh, while we're going past, we may as well
get the iron.
Go get the iron.
Which makes sense.
Why would you not? And I knew as soon as I saw them at reception, I knew what they were doing, and I was like, crap. Like, how I'm going to explain this one?
Yeah.
So I walked out.
And I was also thinking, why are they still there? Because it was a good half an hour before they'd left us, and then they were still there. So naturally, I'm thinking, why on earth are they still all there? Something happened. Like, I could see they were speaking to a woman, like a receptionist or manager or someone. So naturally, I'm like, what the hell? What are they doing while still needing the iron?
Yeah. So I knew what they were doing, and Kylie, obviously being concerned, thinking that something may have happened, walked straight to them, and I was like, let's just go get the iron. Let's just go get the iron. So Kylie turns right towards them. I turn left, trying to sort of encourage Kylie just to continue to go with me, and it was funny. Nikki did very well, and they all did very well, because they were able to divert, saying they're just organising the final night, because we was going to go to the a la carte meal, the restaurant, and we'd already spoken about what night are we doing it, are we switching times and stuff. So Nikki very, very quickly said, oh, we're just arranging the making sure that the meal's all good for us. Yeah. So you was none the wiser at this point then. Because
she literally just said, oh, there's been I think she said something like there's been a double booking, or the time was, they were double booking basically. So I was like, oh, are you joking? Because we was all looking forward to going to the restaurant. And then I bet in their head they were just thinking, go away, like just go away. And I'm just like, okay, have you not been shopping yet? No. So I was like, right, okay, we'll go get ready then, enjoy your shopping. And just obviously walked away and didn't think anything of it. Like I genuinely didn't think anything else of it. Once I knew everyone was all right, it was just the restaurant booking, I was fine. I was like, right, okay, you had the iron ready. And
yeah, I had the iron, and then we walked into the room, and I remember thinking to myself, my heart was like, oh, I hope she hadn't found out, and because you want to keep you want to keep that away from you. And then fast forward an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then we was going to meet for a drink beforehand. Yeah. And so we come back down on the elevator, and Nikki and Gareth were telling the story of they were rushing to get back, and then because they knew what was happening, and we'd already arranged to meet for the pre-drink, if you like. I think it was 5 o'clock. Yeah. And so we go to the bar. We've all got ready. Go to the bar, and I remember a lady from the hotel comes walking up to us, knowing that you're there, comes up to sort of Nikki, as well as
literally right beside me,
right beside you, saying, and I heard what she said. She says, "Oh, the table is ready at the pier for you." Yeah. And I remember going, "What are you doing?" Yeah. No, and Nikki again, superstar. She was like, "Oh, thanks very much for arranging that and changing our meal time." Yeah,
I think the only reason why I didn't catch on to that conversation is because because I saw the woman coming over, But Harper was like, oh, I'm just going to the toilet. So the toilet was literally like 10 steps away from the bar. So I let her go, and then naturally I thought, oh, I'll go follow her. But then went into the bathroom and she wasn't in there. So naturally started panicking. So I come straight out and I was like, where's Harper? And I can remember Susan going, she's here. And I think that's whilst all that conversation was going on. So I just obviously came back. And then I think I said something to Nikki like, oh, what was that about? And again, like you just said, Nikki just said, oh, she was just confirming that the table for the restaurant is being sorted from what we were talking about before. So either Nikki's a really good liar or she's just very good at being put on the spot.
Yeah,
she did amazing in that situation because, one, having that pressure of knowing what's about to happen as well, it's such a big moment. I can only imagine I would have been a stuttering mess, like thinking what to say, and naturally she just did it so well. So credit, thanks, Nikki.
But the thing is, when you're on holiday, you're obviously wearing shorts and you're wearing sandals and you're wearing shirts and things and dresses and things of this. The ring was in my pocket, so that was the other thing where I was like, I'm surprised that you didn't see it in my pocket because what is that hanging out the side? What is that hanging at the side of your leg? Because the obviously the engagement rings in its case.
I know, but they're like, to you, they're huge details. Whereas to me, like you've normally always had your phone in your pocket.
I know.
So it's not like I'm going to stare at your pocket thinking, what on earth's that?
I know.
I was more thinking about a drink, probably. Like, let's go get a nice drink.
And then obviously I had the camera, and I knew again that I was gonna propose to you again, but I was able to sidetrack why I've got the camera on me because I was saying that we're gonna have family photos. Yeah. So again, you wouldn't have thought any different to it.
No. I didn't. I just thought, even going back to when we were packing, he was like, oh, I'm going to take my camera and like the tripod and everything. I thought, well, that could be for work as well. So, things like that would, in my position now, if you put yourself in my shoes, you wouldn't ever think anything differently.
No.
It's not out of the ordinary for you to take a camera on holiday for like, obviously pictures as well. But no, I even think back to myself and I think, is there any moment where, because I would genuinely say like, oh, that makes sense. And it all makes sense now. But at the time, one, you're on holiday, two, you're in vacation mode. So you're not even really thinking like that. And I just didn't think it was even going to happen. So it was fab.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And
I'm
then,
so glad I didn't get any, I wasn't aware of anything. Because I feel like if I was, you get that feeling of like, oh my God, this is going to kind of happen. And at not one point did I think that until it actually started happening.
I know, and then during all that time, I remember starting to feel more and more nervous because at the same time, Gareth had messaged me. He says, just to confirm, are we going to be there? Or are you guys going to walk off by yourselves? And I was like, no, I want you all there.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously...
I absolutely loved that.
Yeah, I was like, I'd love for you all to be there. And obviously Theo and Harper and Liv and Susan and your mum, everybody to be there. And I also was like, because the pier is overlooking where the sunbeds are.
Like the beach huts.
On the beach huts.
Yeah.
So I also knew that there was going to be like, obviously close family there, but strangers, like what is going on there? And I'd already seen from our balcony, that they were setting up and they were pulling the table and everything out. So...
which is another funny thing, because I always get ready on the balcony as well.
You did? And you actually said...
Every night I've been doing my makeup on the balcony, because you're on holiday, I love that vibe. So like, sit outside, doing your makeup, having a drink.
And I remember you specifically saying, oh, they're setting something up on the pier.
It was for me.
So we start walking out, and we're initially trying to get Theo, because Theo was just getting himself sorted. So I asked Theo to hold the camera, and I put the camera on record because I wanted just to record us walking out. So we walked down the pier, and then there was there's the bus where you can get an outside drink, and one of the staff from the restaurant just popped out, just popped out of nowhere, and
well, from behind the bus, which was so random. It was like, oh, hello.
But it was an act, like now, obviously we knew what she was there for. She was there to pour the drinks and and be there to sort of serve on the wine and things afterwards. But she kind of popped out, and again, you're none the wiser at this point.
No.
But we're walking out, and you're like, "Oh, this looks really nice at the front end."
Yeah.
And was it
before that, because we're walking down, so on the pier, like Kev just said, there's like it's a bus, but they've like turned it into like a bar as such, isn't it? So they serve you drinks. But every other night, like on the pier, you can get drinks, can't you? So
yeah.
It wasn't out the ordinary for that woman to be there. It was just a bit weird how she was like not in the bus. So I can remember because we all went up saying, "Oh, are you open to like have a drink?" So we'd all walk down there. And I think she was a little bit taken back herself and a bit like, yes, there'll be drinks, like that type of thing, wasn't she? And then that's when I clocked like the table and everything. And then still I was like, oh, they're obviously setting up like a meal. I think I must have said to you, oh, that's obviously what I've seen. They must be setting up for a meal for somebody.
Yeah. And at that point still, I wasn't 100% sure exactly how it would work. Because at what point do you start the proposal?
Yeah.
Like...
Scary.
I'm like, okay, where's the family right now? Where am I going to do it right now? Because although we'd seen the table, we didn't know, like, am I going to do it on the right hand side of the table? Am I going to do it at the front of the table? And in the end, what worked really quite well, you wanted to go look at the table anyway, because we were just out there and you were being nosy.
Yeah.
Because you were just like, oh, let's go and have a look, because there was rose petals on it.
Yeah.
We'd had a couple of bottles of wine on there. There was glasses on there. There was a table runner on there. And it was at that point, it kind of goes a little bit blurry to me because it's like, at that moment, I remember you turning around and I just...
Well, yeah, so we were walking up to it and I can always remember Gareth saying, don't go too close. It's like that's somebody's set up for their meal. So me being me, I was like, I'm only having a look, like I wasn't touching anything. Thinking obviously it wasn't for us, because I thought in my head I was thinking, oh my god, the one night we're going to go down to the pier to have a drink and some buggers having a bloody candlelight dinner on it. So then go up to the table. Gareth had said that. So like at the end of the pier, it's like a raised platform, isn't it? As such. So obviously I kind of step up it, have a little nosy at the table, and I turn around and I'm about to say, oh, it's so lovely, like it must be set up for somebody. And I'm about to walk away, and you just say, oh, well, while you're up here, I'd like you to stay up here for a second because I've got something to say. And I think that's where I was just a bit like, I can remember just like, because you were holding my hands, and I just kind of like looked round to everyone thinking, I still then was thinking,
what am I doing?
Yeah, I thought you were just going to declare your love for me. I thought, oh, he's got the video out, he might just be saying some real nice things about me. And then, yeah, you obviously said what you said, which was lovely. But I think the moment when I realised what was happening, I don't think you'd even asked me yet, but you were like, I could tell you were so nervous. And I was thinking, right, you're not normally like this, like that's a bit weird. And then it was just stunning. Like, it is hard to like picture everything still in your head because it all happens so quickly, doesn't it? Anything like this happens so quickly. But like there's just snapshots of everything that I like pieced together again. And it's like you want that moment to like relive it, which is I'm so thankful we've got like the videos and we've got like pictures of like capturing it all.
Yeah, and for those that are interested, we will share them on like YouTube, and you'll be able to see the specific moment. But for those guys or girls that have proposed to their girlfriend, boyfriend, you're always thinking in your mind, you're trying to play it over in your mind, like, what are the words you're going to say? Like, how are you going to say it? And I think that everybody probably experiences this, that like you start and your mind goes completely blank. And you're like, you kind of forget everything that you have practiced in your head for potentially hours before. Everything just goes out the window at that point.
You are so great. I love you.
Yeah, it goes out the window. And I remember it was nerve-wracking. It is nerve-wracking. It is scary. Like, you know, you want it to be a great moment. You know, you want it to be a fantastic moment for yourself. You want it to be a surprise for you. and you don't want to be lost for words where you just like stumble or you kind of choke on your own words. So it is very, very nervous, especially because we had the entire the family around us. We also, although the people the people that were there, they would have known kind of what was happening, but like you're always conscious that people are watching you, and then the person from the hotel is also right there. So you kind of feel like you've got an audience in a very, very intimate moment where you are declaring your love for one another. And I remember getting on one knee and asking you, and I was like, you better not say no.
Never.
And you was like, of course I will.
Yeah, I don't even think you got to the end of your sentence. I was like, of course I will.
Yeah, I didn't. I'd not actually finished my speech that was going up in my mind, but you was like, of course I will. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
No, you did really, really well. Even throughout everything you were saying, it was so lovely. Then, like, say you got down on one knee, and it was just perfect. Like, it was lovely.
And you're welcome, my darling. And because one of the things that we've always, I feel, and we're going to talk about this throughout this podcast, and as we go into season 1, is we've always wanted to do things just slightly different, like our way and differently. So we are going to talk about how we're going to do our stag and hen do's differently, and how we're doing the wedding and everything differently. So I wanted to say that to you in that specific moment, like we're doing it our way, and I'm really, really excited for what the next 12 months will be involved. And I remember just hearing a cheer.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, all of a sudden you hear a cheer, and it was like, it wasn't just the family that was there that were like clapping and cheering. It was everybody.
Yeah. I know, I can literally remember hearing the same cheer as you and just looking over, and I think I said something like, I said yes, like that, and put my hand up, and I can just remember this woman, she had a yellow bikini on, and she was giving it some. She was like, I imagine she was going, woo! And like, that will stay with me forever, I think, just because it's like, never experienced that before, about having such a cheer like that, and it was just, oh my God, it was
I know,
great.
people were jumping into the sea, people were whistling, cheering, clapping, everything. It was like, there was a specific moment where you were just saying then, it was like we was in the ring, and we was like, she said yes! Yeah. And we like celebrated together.
It was great.
And then the lady from the hotel, she poured the drink, and we sat there, and we was there all night at that point. We sat there, we were talking, we were celebrating, drinks were flowing, wine was endless.
Yes.
And we were just, and it was a lovely sunset on the pier, Mediterranean, amazing.
Oh, it was.
It really was.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it. And it was, I can honestly say, I couldn't, you always think to yourself, like, how you want that experience to be. And even with the close calls, even with the things that you could have found out, or the ring, because at the same time, I remember being in the shop, I was trying the ring on me, and I was like, I think that's what Kylie's size would be. The ring fit perfectly, which was amazing. And yeah, it was the start of everything that we've experienced since.
Yeah.
And we're super, super excited that in next week's episode, we will be talking about finding the venue, which we're not going to disclose right now, and where it is. And but yeah, that's going to be super, super exciting, because since then, I feel like it's been
a bubble of bliss of wedding talk, which I love.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
It has.
You know,
it's got everyone motivated. Like we're all just so excited. and I'm here for it. I honestly cannot wait but it's the lead up for me as well. Like obviously we're gonna have the day, which we'll go over and things like that within these podcasts. But for me, it's now. It's like the lead up to it. It's all the little bits and things that I've got in my mind, what you've got in your mind. It's bringing them all together and having that one big picture of like our day.
This is it.
Very, very exciting.
So I think that's a good place to call it a day for episode 1. I really, really hope. I've really enjoyed this.
I have as well.
This has been fab.
Yep, first one.
Many
more to come.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know what your thoughts are. Every Wednesday we are going to be doing a podcast, releasing a podcast where we'll talk about. Next week we're going to be talking about finding the venue, which will be super, super exciting. And we'll go through just sharing like what we're experiencing planning a wedding, because we've never done that before. We've got so many things that we're currently on with. And if you guys have got any comments, feedback, if you've got anything at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And we're super, super excited for you to be here. And if you are watching on YouTube as well, then please do hit the subscribe button, because we are going to be doing this more podcast, and it's going to be on Spotify, Apple, etc. But I'm so excited to be doing this marriage material.
Marriage material. But no, it's been great.
See you guys next week.
See you next week.